Okay, everybody. So Jacob's late. So you're all gonna have to be on him because he's late. Guys, hold on for a minute. Jacob, where you at? There he goes. And Jacob is now on. Guys, remember what I said. Get on him. Okay. Get on him. Hey, Jacob.
What's up, man?
Hey there, buddy.
How's it going?
Everybody, remember what I said. Jacob was late, so make sure you get on him.
I was trying to log on, and then all I hear is you talking about how I'm late.
Hey, Kenny Loggins.
Hey, Costas is watching, my friend from Athens.
Really? Wow. Hello. How you doing? Everybody, so I'm so happy to announce and present my little brother here, Jacob Jonas. He's an amazing dancer and founder of Jacob Jonas, the company. He is, I would say, he's like the representative of Los Angeles dance. He's doing so much for the community online and abroad through Instagram, helped me give guidance in my dance career. So I'm more than happy to present him. And wow, we have 50 people watching. This is huge. There's a lot of people tuning in, Jacob. You have the most people I've ever had tuned in for this live stream.
Hey, I got Crystal and Costas and Enoch. What's up, Enoch?
Enoch, people's life, he saves lives. Yes, exactly, he does. He does so many things for the community. He's done so much.
Yeah,
Hello.
It's exciting for me to be here. I haven't done I'm obviously very active on social media and Instagram, but I haven't done an Instagram live. I rarely show my face, so it's fun to connect with people and
well, you should, Jacob, because you are
talk
a
more.
powerful force. You're a powerful force, man, and like I feel like your voice needs to be heard. You're always representing other people, but not representing yourself. So that's
Thank
why
you.
I'm so glad to do this. And see people commenting, obsessed with his talent. Hey, from New Zealand. Thank you all for chiming in. Thank you,
Hi,
Salome.
everyone.
Yeah.
Should we give a little backdrop on our relationship before we start?
Yes, let's do that.
So
Who wants to do it? Me or you?
I'll go and then you can chime in. But
Okay. Okay.
for those that are watching, I'm Jacob. I'm the founder of the company, and this is Lamont, who goes by Cyberyoga. And I'm 27 now, but when I was 13, I started street performing in Venice Beach with a group called the Calypso Tumblers, which is led by a guy named Raymond Bartlett, who goes by Alex. He's in Venice Beach. He's the leader of the group. And when I first started dancing, Lamont was in the group. How old were you?
30
You must have
something.
been in late 20s,
Early
early 30s.
30s. Yeah, yeah.
But he was a dancer in the company, and looked up to him a lot, and we've been training ever since. And I got to learn a lot from him when I was street performing, and then fast forward to when I was 21, I started Jacob Jonas, the company, and Lamont was like one of the first dancers to join us. So you've been training with us ever since. So we've been knowing each other now for 15 years, which is crazy.
Wow, Jacob, I can't believe it's been 15 years. This is incredible, man. Wow, 15 minutes. 15 minutes, 15 years. That's incredible
Super
how
cool.
time flies. And now you're a grown man. You know, I knew Jacob when he was a little kid. And look, he's a grown man, done so much, still so inspired, and we're just here to like motivate each other, inspired. So yeah, keep going. Calypso Templars, Venice Beach, you started the company, and then about you. Okay, so now it's about you. So what did you learn from Alex and us? Like, what do you feel like you got from us and Alex? Like, besides, I mean, the skill set, but what else do you feel like you've what did you get from us besides the physical skill set?
I think I got everything except for the physical skill set was a big part of it, but I think it was just a very small part. Street performing teaches a lot about energy. I think that was the most important part. energy is something that's so like minimalistic to talk about, you know, but like the idea of positive energy is so real. Positive energy is so real. I think that's something you really advocate for a lot, Lamont, but it's something that I've always tried to just do subconsciously, surround myself by positive people,
Yeah.
and people that might not necessarily be positive, but you bring the best out of them. I think that's also really important. But yeah, I mean, there was just such a strong sense of community amongst all the people with Josan and Al and
That's right.
everybody that was out there. There was just such a vibrant sense of community and family, and I think that was just something I was really looking for at that point in my life. I was 13. I was just starting to develop what it's like to have independence and to grow up and be an adult. I was still very young, but just starting to itch on those things. So it was definitely an exciting time to think about those things and how they can impact my life. So you guys all were very instrumental in that growth in time.
Beautiful, beautiful. And you know what, not to I mean, aside from that, you learned so much of the physical skills like through Alex, and like you were basing me and like scaling weight and all these amazing things. So you were so hungry and like so dedicated, man, and that was so inspiring to me. And you like in a sense turn that energy into something that you've cultivated yourself through your company, and you maintain the same aesthetic and mindset of really pushing hard and pushing past your limits. You know, it's really amazing how you took that on, you know.
Yeah, thanks, man.
um how did you get into dancing itself aside from calypso? Were you already dancing at M&R before, or how did that come to be?
No, I first started dancing, you know, street performing. That was like kind of my intro into it. And then around the same time, that was when I was in middle school. And my high school had like a recreational dance company. And I was interested in that as well. So when I was in 8th grade, I started taking ballet classes as well, to try to generate some kind of skill set other than street dance to prepare myself for that. So I started doing that. And then that was kind of my intro into more classical and concert styles of movement and dance. And that's what led me into choreography later on.
Amazing. And what inspired you to create your company, and how did you come up with the name? I mean, obviously it's your name, but like what was the process behind that, and what inspired you to create your own company? Like what gave you the motivation to do that?
There were a lot of opportunities, some of which you actually participated in. But, you know, when I was like 17, I started playing around a lot more with choreography. My interest in making dance became very relevant to me. And so I started playing a lot with movement and concepts. And I was always very visual. So I saw a lot of photos and ideas in my head about, you know, just wanting to make dances. So that's what I started doing. And I had a really close group of people like you and Jill and Renee and a lot of other people at that time, Mike, who were there. And so I was just like, hey, can I make a phrase? Can I do something with you guys? And I think those projects started to accelerate. And then within those couple of years, I started winning some opportunities to do bigger and more prestigious things. So when I was 20, I won this award to create a full-length show the following year. And that was kind of the infrastructure. I definitely wanted to start a company of my own, but I didn't think it would be as soon as 21. But yeah, a couple opportunities just landed on my lap, and that was just the right time to do it.
Amazing, amazing. And you know, it's amazing to be a part of that process, like to just hear about this, you know, oh, we're going to New York, or you're going to like present something, and to just be a part of that is really incredible. um Aside from like obviously, you know, us and the calypsos, who is your major inspiration for dance, and like who do you look up to? Like who's your main motivations as far as dancing, and who do you like model yourself after, or who's your motivation?
I want to respond, but I just want to
Yes,
acknowledge some of the
yes,
comments we're getting. It's
yes,
so beautiful. So thank you
yes.
everyone that's tuning in. I
Yeah,
was
thank
saying we
you.
rarely do these Instagram lives, but Lamont's a good friend and he wanted to do an interview. He's starting this new thing called Cyberyoga Talks. So I'm excited to be one of the guests that he's doing. But thank you guys for all your comments. But
So many. Wow.
but
What
some
are
of
we
the
excited
people
about?
I look up to, I mean, the list is so long. I literally have lists that go on for days of different artists of different mediums, be it architects, musicians.
Yeah.
Rarely do I ever am I inspired by other choreographers. I rarely like to watch or think about dance because I think subconsciously the art form itself, there's so much that you can do. So oftentimes you see certain things that other people are doing, and you don't want to feel like you're creating similar things. So it's sometimes better just not to watch. Um, but I'm more inspired by like creative leaders. Like the idea of leadership within itself is very inspiring. But
Mhm.
choreographically, I mean, the list is very long. One of my biggest inspirations will always be Lloyd Newson, who's a artistic director of a dance company in London called Deviate.
Mhm.
Um, and he gave an interview one time where he just was like, dance bores me, and I want to say things with dance. And so, you know, he takes very important social themes about his work, and I think it really inspires audiences, you know, about the things that he's saying. It's not just about movement, but it's about a narrative that's much deeper than movement.
Mhm.
Um, you know, there's people like Merce Cunningham and Trisha Brown, and uh, there's so many people. But yeah, there's just, I think every choreographer, when really committed to their intention and committed into their instincts, really portray. I mean, any artist who's really genuinely listening to themselves is going to be saying something different, because everyone just has different experiences, different relationships, and different things that they're expressing in that time. And so I think the
Absolutely.
people that I just have genuinely gravitated towards are the people that are kind of speaking most authentically or honestly, but have also built like a really strong infrastructure that has done something for a community bigger than themselves. So, um,
Awesome.
yeah.
That's amazing, man. I like to introduce the audience to your concept of cameras and dancers. Jacob is a massive, he's a mastermind behind this whole concept of cameras and dancers, and it's really incredible what you're doing for the community of dance globally and aesthetically. What was your motivation behind that? Like, what was the inspiration? Like, what sparked it?
It's crazy, bro, talking to you, because I do these different interviews sometimes, and you know, there's oftentimes similar questions that are asked. But it's crazy because you've literally been at the first of everything that I've done. So it's like you were at Venice, you were at like the first Interim on Broad Street that we did, the first shows we did.
Absolutely.
You're at the first cameras and dancers we did. So it's cool.
But to hear it, to hear how you came up with the concept is incredible to me because one thing is being in it, but then hearing the inspiration and like, you know, motivation behind it to me is just as powerful. Like,
Thanks,
how
man.
did you come with the idea? So this, please
So
share.
the real inspiration, you know, you were actually involved in a lot of the photo shoots I was doing before, like, you know, Instagram really became popular. I think I just always had an itch to take photos and to like,
Hmm.
you know, capture the body as a still image.
Hmm.
And so when I was like 16, 17, I was starting to play with photography. I wasn't that great of a photographer myself, so I was initiating collaborations with other photographers, but kind of creatively directing what was happening. Um, and one of my friends, Dave Krugman, I started coming across his work on
Yeah,
Facebook before
amazing.
Instagram, and found some photos that I was like really inspired by. And I hit him up and I was like, yo, let's collaborate. And he was down. And then he started becoming very popular on Instagram. And I was paying attention to that. You know, when I was first on Instagram, it was more just about like my personal life and,
Yeah.
you know, taking photos of sunsets and whatever. And I think there was a real shift in the Instagram community where people stopped doing it as like a personal pursuit, and then
Hmm.
they started like really making it a portfolio,
Yeah.
and taking it very seriously of how they visually portrayed themselves. And so Dave Krugman was one of those first people that I was really inspired by, and he um, was a part of like this Instagram community that was really starting to develop. They were doing Insta meets, worldwide Insta meets, and I was watching those things and was really inspired. And um, he also was a part of a project called the Empty Met, hashtag Empty Met, where he'd go into the Metropolitan Museum and would photograph it before and after hours. And that would be really inspiring for people that either couldn't afford to go and lived in New York, or people that weren't even able to go to New York, but they were able to see the museum. And so it really kind of accelerated art on another level for digital marketing. And yeah, around that time, I was just like, yo, let's do one just for dance. Let's do an Instameet just for dance. And I only had like 2,000 followers on my Instagram at the time, and did one and did two and did three. And by the fifth one, the Getty Museum hit me up and was like, yo, we want you guys to do it at our museum. And that was like a really big stepping stone. And then as the event kept progressing, I became more and more interested in architecture and other dance companies. You know, at first it was just having Jacob Jonas, the company, do it. And then, you know, I have such a big mission to kind of create a platform for other dance companies and choreographers to really thrive. And so we started partnering with other dance companies too. And it just kind of took off from there. So we've done 60 to date over 5 years. So it's, yeah, it's
That's
just
incredible.
a fun little passion project.
That's a fun little, Jacob. It's not little. It's far from
A
little.
fun passion project.
Like, you're creating a ripple in the world of dance, and you're bringing like regular people, really inspiring them to be more engaged with dance, and you do it in a way it's very captivating. Let's. Someone wrote, discovered your company on Instagram and love your original work, from H. Siegel. And somebody wrote, when can we see you guys live in LA?
Thank you. To answer the LA question, we normally perform pretty consistently, but everything's been on hold. We perform every April at the Pier. We produce a dance festival on the Pier, and that just got canceled, unfortunately. And we're normally at the Wallace Theater in Beverly Hills every other year, and we self-produce shows. But the second this little Corona virus passes, we'll make some new announcements.
I want to get I want to ask you a question about your process, about when you're casting dancers. Like, what criteria are you looking for? I mean, obviously dance, I mean, amazing dancing ability, but what other criteria are you looking for? Because like Joy and Nick and Emma, like all these amazing dancers, like what was your...
And I was always kind of turned off by that. I always wanted to try to learn as much as possible and not just be a break dancer, not just be a ballet dancer, whatever, but how do you learn? So I would say I haven't mastered any style necessarily, but I've definitely learned the vocabularies and abilities of every style. And so that's why the vocabulary of our company is the way it is because we just try to incorporate as much people as possible.
Beautiful. The work speaks for itself. You know, work speaks for it. Someone wrote, love the authenticity. Somebody wrote, yes, handshakes and classical ratchet hit the nail right on the head. Amazing. How do you feel about the dance scene in Los Angeles? Like the industry versus like theater and stage. What are your thoughts about that?
For those that are watching, I think what you're asking specifically is like the difference of like the concert world versus like the commercial world. And
commercial, yeah.
Luckily for me, like growing up in street dance, like, you know, that was the most interesting place to grow. I think, you know, the idea of busking and like street theater, it's so important. And I think what's happening in LA, not just in LA, but around the world, like even seeing all these organizations right now shut down, nobody's able to rehearse, but still seeing this kind of vibrance online on social media. It's interesting how vibrant the art community is. But I think in regards to your question, you know, I was very lucky to work with Kanye West for the past
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah, but before the new year, and I was having a couple conversations with the dancers that we were working with about the difference of concert versus commercial dance. And, you know, I look at someone like Ryan Heffington, who's a choreographer that, you know, I look up to immensely. And he was really one of the first people in my eyes to kind of shift the mold of what it means to be a commercial choreographer. Also, Danny Ezerlo, who's a huge inspiration of mine and friend. You know, the work that he did in Across the Universe and other films, like it was, you know, I don't know. I could talk about this for days, but you know, if you go back to kind of what Tony Basil was doing with, you know, the
Mhm.
lockers, and you go back to, you know, what Debbie Allen and Anita Mann and, you know, Michael Peters and all these really incredible jazz
Wow.
choreographers were doing, there was such um uh, a high level of technique.
Mhm.
And it really kind of, in my eyes, stemmed from what Robbins was doing with West Side Story. And that came from concert dance. So I feel like so much from concert dance came into commercial dance. And now what you're seeing with commercial dance is that there's not a lot of technique anymore. It's so much about ego and about, um, I don't know, just the wrong things maybe. Um,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
I think in my eyes, the way I like to framework it is that if you're doing commercial dance, it just means that you're doing it for the camera. So the context of it, the authenticity of it, the way it is expressed shouldn't be different if you're on the stage. Or the process, the choreographic process of how you're making it shouldn't be different. It's just if it's for the camera or if it's for the stage. So that's how I like to think about it now. But I think, yeah, dance in LA is really vibrant, and there's so many people that are thriving. I just did a spread for DIY Dancer magazine where we like really showcased a lot of the different companies, you know, Jacques Heim from Diablo and Body Traffic and um, 8 9. There's so many dance companies right now that are doing such tremendous work here in LA, and also in the commercial world as well. So yeah, it's just a really beautiful city to be a part of.
Amazing. Someone wrote, okay, you know me. I'm like comical. Someone wrote, "Hey, it's 3 a.m. it's 3 a.m. at my place." Okay, good to know. And someone from Kristen Carrera wrote, "How does your work with film and photography bleed into influence your voice as a choreographer?"
That's a good
Good
question.
question.
I think I'm always striving to kind of capture the same thing which you were talking about before when it comes to casting. It's just like authenticity, you know,
Yeah.
like when I'm photographing people, when I'm filming them, when I'm choreographing them, it's always just like, who are they?
Hmm.
That's the goal. Like, who are they as a person? And then how do I document that? Um, I think in its
Absolutely.
simplest, that's just the way to, yeah, say it in its simplest.
Absolutely. Tell me about your concept to the sea, the pier dance event. Like you're such an innovator with like so many different things, like cameras are dancers, like you're such a visionary and you really cultivate like togetherness. So what was your process behind To the Sea and that like how did that work?
Um, I've just always been I think I'm just really excited about so many people. Like, you know, I think too often in the arts it can be very competitive, and for me it never was like that. It was just always like, damn, like what you're doing is dope, and what you're doing is dope, and what you're doing is dope. And I've just always been like a fan of so many people.
Hmm.
And I think that same way that dance really kind of took me and inspired me by watching, you know, Calypso when I was early on. I'm like, damn, like if I can create more opportunities for people that don't know dance or younger people to come across it and just kind of do what it did to me to them, it just would give me such, you know, excitement. And you know, too often you go to theaters and there's like a lot of old white people that are wealthy that can afford the tickets to watch those shows, but you know, that's not really representative of society. And so we're just trying to find more accessible opportunities to provide a platform for people to see dance, and also for me to share the people that excite me. You know, we've had people like you and the Seven Fingers and Palopolis and, you know, Paul Taylor and um, you know, Diablo and just Ryan Heffing, like all these people perform at
Yeah,
the pier. And so it's just my little exciting way to just say, hey, here are all the people I love, come check them out.
that's beautiful.
In a different capacity, and to do it, you know, in my city, you know, like I grew up in Santa Monica, the pier is home for me. And so
Yeah,
to bring everyone to a location where you can see the ocean, and it's cool.
beautiful, man. Now back to you because we know that you trained with us in Calypso, but you're an amazing popper as well. And you really was delving into that a lot and you kind of stopped, but like who's your inspiration behind the popping? I know who it is. I know who it is, but I want you to tell the audience who your mentor was. Can't hear you
Mr.
there.
Animation, Mr. Animation, Mr. Animation. So yeah, at the same time of, you know, starting to hit with Calypso, the Calypso Tumblers in Venice Beach, there's another performer named Mr. Animation, and we would all switch off one another. And Animation, he did a one-man show, like unlike anybody else. Everybody on the street now is stealing all his work. But he was such an innovator, came out of South Central with nothing, was homeless for a while, you know, came across a guy named Little Caesar, was part of
Little
Air Force
Caesar.
Crew. Air Force Crew is just, you know, they really transformed street dance. Animation was one of the first people to take that gang feeling of, like, you know, that hard-hitting gang feeling of
No
dance and
bombs.
culture, and really express it through like this heaviness. So when I was 16, he just kind of came across me. He's like, "Hey kid, I want to take you under my wing." That was a really big deal for me. And popping was really interesting for me because when I first came across Calypso, I didn't feel like I really excelled as a breakdancer the way you guys did, like with, you know, arm
Yeah.
balances or flares or like power moves. And so I always kind of felt like I excelled very much in acrobatics, like doing the 2-mans and 3-mans and 4-mans, but I
Yes, you
never
did.
really had my own thing like as a solo, as
Yeah.
a soloist. And so when I came across popping, I was like, wow, here's something I could kind of gravitate towards. It's not acrobatic. And then Animation and I, almost every night, man, we would get together 8 at night, 9 at night, sometimes go till like 3 or 4 in the morning, just train and train and training. He has so much to give me. So yeah, he's such a role model in my life. He really helped me actually create a new relationship with my father, because he never had a really strong relationship with his dad.
Beautiful.
And he helped me rebuild that, and he was just so cool. And then yeah, a couple of years ago we got the news that he suddenly died from a car accident. Fucking like broke my heart. But yeah, he's been a huge inspiration and a really close friend of mine for a long time.
Amazing guy, man. Amazing. And it's like I feel like it's your legacy to keep that up, Jacob. Gotta keep popping, man. Don't stop dancing. We
And
have some
every year we
amazing
do.
no, go
Sorry,
on.
I was just gonna say, every year when we do the Santa Monica Pier event, we do the Mr. Animation Legacy Award, where we celebrate people that have been pushing the art form of street dance forward. And so we've given the award to like Al Boogie, to Tony
Beautiful.
Basil, Ill Abilities, the Groovaloos, David Burnell, a lot of different people.
Amazing.
And so it's just nice for me to continue to like recognize his name and what he's done.
I like to acknowledge a lot of people. Someone, Magnus Theo, hello from Germany. Rewind wrote, "How does everyone get funded and where does the money come from?" Hello from Paris. Hello from Venezuela. You just want to share and collaborate. That's what it's about. Use it as a vehicle in progression and innovative and very creative way. Will you ever perform here? I met Jacob at Santa Monica Pier, talented and the sweetest
Oh,
guy.
hey, good people.
A ASOP 78. And then Brenda Yoga wrote, "I wish I could dance on Jacob's." I mean, I guess dance in your company, I guess. But yeah, beautiful words. Beautiful words.
Yeah,
Um,
go for it.
Tell me about the digital dance. This new thing. Again, like another one. You're always creating something new and like innovating concepts. So tell us about that. Tell me about that, because I think that's amazing too. So elaborate
Yeah,
more
I
on
mean,
that.
when we got the news about this whole coronavirus, we were just the day that Coachella announced that they're going to postpone their festival. We were going to announce our Pier Festival lineup, so the timing just really sucked. And then the next day, the NBA shut their thing down, and it's just a weird time. It was a weird time for the performing arts, and everything kind of closed very suddenly. And I got a lot of messages from friends and colleagues of other organizations, and you know, a lot of fear was brought up about people not knowing if they're going to continue their company anymore, and you know, just the economics of it all. And it was just a very scary time. And so we knew that we were all going to kind of be quarantined and staying at home for a while. And I thought, hey, let's create an activity for all of us to kind of stay connected while we're isolated. And I sent a little group message to some of my friends um, online, other like dance leaders and cultural leaders in dance, and was just like, hey guys, I have this little idea I want to throw around. Let's all work together, create some tasks, and inspire our audiences to like have something to do. You know, a lot of people since then have started doing live classes, which has been so amazing to watch, and just continue to create an opportunity for people to be distracted and inspired physically and creatively. And so this digital dancing is just a little another project that we're doing right now. Every Monday and Friday we're announcing a new task and just encouraging everyone to participate to the best that they can.
That's amazing, Jacob. So proud of you, man. You're so on top of it, man. So on top of it. Um, so just, leaning forward, like what's the future for Jacob Jones the company, and what's your highest vision, or what's your biggest goal? Like what else do you want to accomplish?
um, yeah, it's a good question. It's, you know, the end goal for our company right now is a few things. um, you know, we're building a really solid infrastructure as we continue to grow and expand. And, you know, first and foremost, it's about the artists. And we have such a strong group of artists that are connected to us, both performing artists that work with us, collaborators that are choreographers, scientists, technologists, musicians. Um,
Mm.
and so really just fostering that community and trying to create as much work as possible. Um, we're slowly but surely turning ourselves into an agency where we represent the dancers that work with us as well, so we can protect them on our grounds, and negotiate contracts and negotiate, you know, funding or prices for them. Um, and and then like as a company, we want to, you know, continue to tour and build up what that model looks like both domestically and internationally. Like how much more can we tour our work and introduce our work to different audiences. And then last, you know, looking at ourselves like a production company, you know, as we continue to do more and more commercial work, we want to um, engage with more production companies, directors, ad agencies, and kind of be able to provide this service of choreography, dance, creative direction. So a lot of different moving parts. Oh, and lastly is like this sense of community, doing initiatives like the Pier and Cameras and Dancers, and you know, producing and commissioning other people's work is something we want to get to. But long road. You know, in America, the funding is weird.
Yeah,
Yeah, you like depend on donors, which is so weird.
yeah,
Um, but you know, I think the more we can collaborate with brands and collaborate with other directors, I think there might be better financial opportunity than just depending on donors, because that idea of begging, I was never a beggar, so I don't love that. I want the work to speak for itself, and
yeah.
allow the money to come in that way. So just
Awesome,
playing a lot with different models, but
awesome. Well, you're
yeah.
doing an amazing job, man. You're doing an amazing job with your all the years. You're making so much noise and doing so much, and it's definitely respected from me, man. Love you a lot, bro. So proud of you, man. Somebody wrote, "Love you, Jacob." Lauren, Lynn, and Jill.
Hey.
Samantha Dance Films. Hello from Mexico. So yeah, I mean, you know what? Like I'm gonna say, you know what? You just keep on doing your thing, man. Love you, bro. I'm proud of you. How can people follow you? Obviously on Instagram, but how can people follow you? Like, what are their means or streams of income? Can they and streams of income? How many other? Can I? Someone wants to. Someone wants to add something. Subject. I don't know what that means. I don't know. Someone added that. I don't know. Anyway, how can people find you? Like, what is all your handles? What's your information? How can people stay in
Yeah,
touch
just
with you?
just here on Instagram. I think that's like our most vibrant page. Just Jacob Jones Company. How about you? Why don't you talk about you and why you're starting these cyber yoga talks and about this project? Why are you doing this, and what's it like for you? this, and what's it like for you?
I'm doing this now because of Corona, obviously, but what humanity and shifting systems. And I feel like people need to be more connected now than ever because of what's happening. And this situation is making people really wake up. And I feel like since nobody's really working or has to be at work, I feel like people are really, they have to isolate themselves. But I was thinking about why not us just really focus on like connecting. And I'm like a family person, you know. I really, you know, believe in family, and I really believe in good people and like sharing their God-given talents and their skill sets. So I just had this idea about having talks, having deep intellectual talks about each guest and their story, their inspiration, their motivation, their downs and outs, and just share it because I feel like we have to be more connected now than ever in the world because of what's happening. And I feel like everything before has been like superficial. Hey, how you doing? Oh, let's go train. Oh, cool. Oh, what job are you booking? No, but not really like connecting with people. And so I just had the vision of this, you know, I really want to hear people's stories because, you know, start from yourself. I'm really inspired by people and their stories and like how they got, you know, to the point of like where they are. And so I just had the vision, you know, Cyber Yoga Talks, this deep intellectual talks about a guest. And it could be a dancer, an artist, a poet, a regular person. I don't care. I do not discriminate. I'm just really inspired by inspiring people. And that's what I see. So that's why I'm doing this.
So what's inspiring you these days?
The shift in awareness that I know that this is a shift in awareness and the planet, what do you want to call it, Gaia, is like, hey, you guys been bad. I'm here to spank you a little bit. Time to wake up. And it's time to start getting real and getting serious and take your mind, body, and spirit, like take it seriously. Take your relationships seriously. Um, and sometimes, you know, drastic things have to happen for things to shift. And that's just what I feel about it. So I'm really inspired by the good in humanity. Of course, you know, there's the bad, but I do see some people that, you know, that I'm really inspired by, you know, like your work, other people that I know are just really about like empowering um, the collective, you know, empowering each other and friends and family, and not like the fake, but like really being real, you know.
Yeah,
This is where I am, man. That's
I
where I
love
am.
it.
That's where I am, man. So
Should we see if any of
great.
these people have questions, or should we head out?
I'm just hearing great. Somebody put eyes. Love from Mexico. I loved your piece on education and creativity, and that was
Well, thank you.
Ankita Gupta. Hi from India. Nothing else, man. But I want you to start showing your dancing too, Jacob. Like you're an amazing dancer. So start sharing, start
Thanks, man.
talking, man.
No one
Start
wants
doing
to
more,
see
man. You're
that.
always. Somebody wrote, "Hey Jacob, I'd be interested to hear your opinion on contemporary circus and when the circus becomes dance and vice versa." Excellent question.
Cool. I think, you know, as part of the peer project that we do, we've been, you know, circus has been something we do every year as well. We've always presented circus. And growing up as a street performer, circus was like one of the main things I wanted to get into. Um, you know, and I have a lot of friends in circus. I think in my own perspective, the main difference between dance and circus is the difference of having like an apparatus or not. Um, you know, I think circus excels on their acts that they specialize in. But I think all, you know, circus artists are dancers. I think, you know, I've worked with a lot of circus artists without apparatuses, and they're incredible to work with. I think circus artists are very similar to street dancers, where you're kind of self-taught, and
Focus.
you require, you know, unlike growing up doing ballet on the bar, um, you grow up kind of excelling in one thing and really mastering it and developing your own kind of individuality to it. And so I think there's a lot of overlap with dance and circus. So I'm excited to see how that kind of thrives more.
Amazing. Amazing, Jacob. Such a, yeah, man. You like you embody and love dance so much, man. And it's beautiful to see that. So once again, how can they find you? Just Instagram, Jacob Jonas the company. What else?
Yeah,
On the
man.
website?
JacobJones.com.
Okay, cool.
Thanks for doing this, bro. Love what you're doing, and send love to everyone for me.
Someone put one last thing. Keep these talks happening in the future. This connection is so much needed and appreciated. Yes, that's why I do this.
Follow
So,
Cyber Yoga, guys. He'll do more talks with great people.
Jacob, love you, bro. I'm proud of you. I'll see you next week. We'll hang out and talk and eat some of that good food you're making. Talk
Love
about
you,
your
bro.
cookbook.
Love you, bro.
Love you, bro. Talk to you later. Peace.